Hi, I'm Gabriel, and this is Learning English Path. And in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to say and pronounce 27 famous places from around the world. Okay, this is how to say 27 famous places in English. All right, so let's get started. This is the first one. Now, what I would like you to do first, before I tell you how to say it in English, say it in your own language. All right? How to say this in your first language. Okay, then you can tell the difference. Now, you know that this is in Paris, France, and we call it in English the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower. All right, let's go to the next one. And remember that this is only how to say it in English. It's not how to say it necessarily when you go to the country, when you go to the place, all right? They call it, they don't call it the Eiffel Tower in Paris, okay? So you'll have to go there and find out how to say it in French. All right, next one. All right, how do you say this in your language? In English, we say the Sphinx. The Sphinx. It's a difficult one there because you've got S-P-H. Sphinx. And this also in Egypt, very close to the Sphinx. How do you say this in your language? In English, it is the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, you can also say the Great Sphinx of Giza or the Sphinx of Giza. But if you say the Sphinx, I think everyone would know what you were talking about. We usually say this is the Great Pyramid of Giza. All right, the next one. This is in a little town in Italy, which I've been to, called Pisa. So we've gone from Giza to Pisa, and this is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Leaning Tower of Pisa. So leaning means you're going to one side like this, right? You're going, you're not up straight. You're leaning to one side. So it's a tower that's leaning. The Leaning Tower of Pisa. The next one, also in Italy, but this is in Rome. Also an incredible place. This is the Roman Colosseum. The Roman Colosseum. All right, now how do you say that in your language? Maybe you're Italian. If you're Italian, I want to know how you say that. And also this is in Vatican City, right? How do you say this in your language? In English, we say St. Peter's Basilica, right? This is the whole thing. The whole thing here. St. Peter's Basilica. And the next one. This is in Athens, right? And I'm just talking about the building. I'm not talking about the hill. The building is called the Parthenon. This is how we say it in English, the Parthenon. But a lot of people make the mistake of calling it the Acropolis. The Acropolis is the hill that the Parthenon stands on, okay? Because the Acropolis means the peak of the city, right? So this is the top of the hill of the city, and this is the Parthenon. This is in England, and it's called Stonehenge. Stonehenge. This is also in England, but it's in London. And how do you say this in your language? And I want you to have a guess. How do you think you say it in English, if you don't know already? Because there's a good chance that it's just a direct translation, okay? We call it Big Ben. Big Ben. Now remember, the reason I'm teaching you these is because I get a lot of students or English learners who, when I get into a conversation about traveling with them, traveling around different places in the world, they will want to tell me a place that they're going to or a place they've been, but they know how to say it in their language, but they've never been taught how to say it in English. So sometimes it's difficult, like the different places I'm showing you today, they might be completely new as far as the translation goes, but sometimes it will be really easy, right? Sometimes it will just be a direct translation from big in your language and then the name Ben, Big Ben. And by the way, Big Ben is actually the name of the clock itself, not really the whole tower, but a lot of people generalize it, okay? All right, now this place, it's in Moscow, and we call it St. Basil's Cathedral. St. Basil's Cathedral. Now again, a lot of people, even English speakers, get this mixed up and call this place the Kremlin. But this is definitely not the Kremlin. Okay, the Kremlin is another building. It's the governmental building in Moscow. But this is St. Basil's Cathedral. And this place is, in English, we say the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal. All right? Very famous mausoleum. And this is in India, right? So let me know again how you say it in your language. There's a good chance it will be similar to this, because remember that we don't translate every word into English. If it's a very famous place, we will often have a similar name for it as it is in the language of origin, but maybe with a different pronunciation, right? Our own English Anglified or Americanized pronunciation. The Taj Mahal. All right, this place is in Saudi Arabia, and we call it Mecca. Mecca. This is the center of the great pilgrimage of the Muslim religion each year. And this is in the USA, right? In New York City. It is called the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty. And an interesting fact is that it was designed by the same French man who designed the Eiffel Tower in Paris. And this is the famous statue in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And we call it, in English, we say Christ the Redeemer. Christ the Redeemer. And this is in Peru, in the mountains of Peru. Now, this is a tricky one. Even for native English speakers, we get this wrong, okay? Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu. Some people say Machu Picchu, but mostly what I've heard is Machu Picchu, okay? And again, this is clearly how they say it in Spanish too. This is in Mexico, and it's another tricky one. It's called, in English, how we say the Chichen Itza. The Chichen Itza. But again, if it's pronounced differently in Mexico, and you're from Mexico, please tell me how you say it. I would like to know the difference. All right, this is in Cambodia, and I actually went here last year, about this time last year. It's called Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat. Incredible place. Huge. Oh, but they don't come much more incredible than this. This is called, in English, we say, the Great Wall of China. The Great Wall of China. I've been here to one of the places on the Great Wall twice, on a site called Badaling. And it's just breathtaking. The Great Wall of China. Near Beijing. Right, the site of the Great Wall where I was, near Beijing. But of course it stretches on for a long time. Or, well, there are many different walls that are all kind of said to be connected, right? This is another place in China, in a city called Xi'an. It is, and we, in English, we say the Terracotta Warriors. The Terracotta Warriors. It's funny because when I say this to Chinese people, they understand our translation for the Great Wall of China, because they call it Changcheng, but they don't understand why we say Terracotta Warriors. I think they call it Bingmayong, and so it's completely different. We name it after the material terracotta, the material that the warriors are crafted out of. Terracotta Warriors. Now this is in Australia, in Sydney, and in English we say it's the Sydney Opera House. The Sydney Opera House. You can learn some new words by studying place names quite often too. If you didn't know what an opera house was, right? You do now. Now this is an interesting place that I've been to in Turkey, and it's not super well known around the world, but it's just an incredible place, an incredible sight to see, and you can actually stay in these little mountains, these little mushroom-shaped mountains here, and we say Cappadocia. Cappadocia. You can also say the Cappadocia Mountains, but just Cappadocia is good enough to talk about the region. This is a famous place in South Dakota in the USA. These are 4 former US presidents carved into the stone of the mountain, carved into the rock. And this is called Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore. And this is the famous mountain in Japan, And I will be going to Japan this month. I can't wait. I will be going here for the first time. I'm very much looking forward to it. This is called Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji. And this is, of course, the highest mountain in the world. It is Mount Everest. Mount Everest. All right, now this is a difficult one to pronounce for English speakers. And this is in Dubai. And we've basically just taken their words for it. We call it the Burj Khalifa. Burj Khalifa. If I've said it wrong, according to people in the UAE, then please correct me on it. And this is in Malaysia. It's called the Petronas Twin Towers. The Petronas Twin Towers. And this is the final one in Germany. And this is the castle that Walt Disney used in order to create his movies from, his fairy tale movies from, right? And let me see if I can get this right. It is the Neuschwanstein Castle. Neuschwanstein Castle. I'm pretty sure I got that right. Okay, we just took it from German again. But, you know, like with many of the places, they might put this word at the beginning, or maybe not, but they will have their own word for castle, right? But we've taken the name of the castle right from German, Neuschwanstein Castle, all right? All right, those are 27 places in English, how to say them and how to pronounce them. Now, please, if you haven't got my free PDF document on 101 songs to learn English, please do get that. I'll email it to you right away, and you will get my 5 words of the week every week. Please give this video a like if you like it. Subscribe and click the notification bell for more lessons just like this. Keep learning, my friend, and keep going.